Hi everyone, welcome to the new video of Dart series. So basically in this video we are learning a new concept of Dart, that is Mixins. So if I go to the official document of Mixin where we can find the definition and also a lot of example you can refer, and whenever you get a doubt regards to anything, do refer the document which help you guys. So the first thing if you could see or read is the definition that they have given, that is mixins are the way of defining the code that can be reused in a multiple class hierarchies. So the moment I start explaining what is mixin, this definition will make sense actually. So without getting late, let's start with the actual explanation. So we are back in the Dart pad, which is where help us to explain mixins easily, because like whenever you want to learn any new language or something, you'll refer an online editor, right? So, same way for that there is a Dart pad. So today's concept is mixin. So as I told, okay, before going into the mixin, we guys already know about classes, right? So let's create a class called animal, which has a method called a move. So let's create a class called animal. So basically this class usually takes a variable or a method. So let's define a method. Let that method be a move. So whenever you create an object and you call a method move, we want to print a statement called change position or something. Fine. I hope you people are understanding and following these things. So basically what did we do is, I'll just remove it for before I explain Mixins. So what did I just do is I have created an animal class. So and I have created a method inside that. So when I try to create object, or usually if I try to call the class and which has a move method, and if I hit run button, you usually see an output that says a change position. So here it is. So when you hit run, and basically what it is doing is it's just printing what move method says. So it is going inside the class of animal where it has a method called move, which basically printing into the console. So it is printing the change position statement into the console. So let's create one more class, that is, let's name that as fish. And this fish, it is also a kind of animal where it also moves, right? So let's get the same method from the animal. How do we inherit it? Using a method called extends. So if you have not watched the previous videos about the inheritance and all, it is good if you guys referred it, because it will make sense when you know the things. So basically we are creating a fish which also want this method, that is move, which is the class of animal. So let's get that method from the animal by extending it. Basically you are inheriting it, animal. So if I go here, right here, and if I try to call this class of this method, I can easily call move because it has inherited. If I try to print here, so let's make sure it is correct spellings. If I try to print here, what will happen? Fish. Okay, one more thing, whenever you are creating a class, make sure it is a capital. Yeah, it works, but it is good if it always starts with a capital one. So you'll get two change position. One it is from the animal class, and second, the class that you have inherited the properties of animal, that is move. Okay, and let's create one more class, that is let's say this time bird. Okay, it also moves, right? So let's get the method from the animal. We'll just inherit the property of move. So if I just write here again bird and call the method move, it still works because we are inheriting the properties of animal. I hope it is clear until here. Okay, fine, this is clear. So let's say, okay, now if you could observe the both class of bird and fish, which has a property, which has a method called move, right? Because we have basically inherited from the parent class, that is an animal class, and this too is like, okay, child class, you can consider that as a child class. So let's say, but the only difference you can see is these are kind of animal which will move for sure, but the way it moves or the changes its location is different. Like fish, it usually swim, where bird, it usually flies. So let's say if you want to change its position with a different, fish used to swim, birds used to fly. So in that way, I need to edit the method move here. So how can I do that? Since I have inherited the property of animal, I can also edit the property of that by using a keyword called override, that you guys are familiar with. So override, what I have to override? I want to override a method that is move, which is from the animal. So what I'll just do, I'll write a move. So I can just simply write print statement and I can say change position by swimming. Clear? In the same way, I just want to change here also. Here, instead of only giving a change position, I want to change this method into by flying. Clear? If I try to run the code, what will be the output? First, the animal move, that is just only to change position. Right? See here. When I just try to try to run an code where animal, it is a parent class. When you call a method move, which just execute the output, that is change position, and second is a fish, that is a child element that has been taken from the parent one, and you have made an verification changes in the move method that it will be located here. Same way for the animal. I hope this is clear. Okay, now the real situation comes where, let's say you want to create one more class, where let's name that class as duck. And you guys also familiar with this. Duck change its position either by swimming or flying, right? It can fly, it can also swim. So now in this case, what will you extend this from? Will you extend this from the bird or the fish? It will be an first question. Will you extend that with the bird and the fish? If we want that both, right? So let's say if we can extend both. So let's try to extend both bird and fish. When I do this, I'll get an error because I can't extend both. We can only inherit only one parent or one class. We can't extend both also. Even though if we could able to extend, what class will you pick? Will you pick the method from the bird or you pick the method from the fish? This will be the problem. To solve this only, we have a new concept, that is mixin. So what it basically does is, I'll give you an example what it does. So let's create a mixin. Let's name it as can fly, which has a method called fly, which basically let's print an statement called can or like a change position or can fly, and the statement, make sure the spellings are proper. Same way, let's create one more mixin. What is the way to create a mixin? You'll just use a keyword called mixin and you'll give a name to that. Inside that you can create either variable or any methods. So here instead of fly, I'll just write a swim, and instead of a fly method, I'll write a swim method, and also I'll change the statement. Clear? So what did I do? I just created two mixins. So how do we create Mixin? It's just like the class that we create. You'll write the keyword, you'll write the name of the Mixin. Inside that, you'll write a method. I mean, what you want, or any variable or any method you wanted. Okay. Now I know I can't extend from both fish and a bird. So in this situation, what I can do, I can extend this with the Mixin. Mixins are useful for here only. I know I can't extend from the both classes, but Mixin are like a little classes where I can use two classes also. Like say example, I want duck to have two features because duck can also fly and also can swim. So I can just write can swim, which is a Mixin, also can fly. So if I go here and if I create if I try to call that class, that is duck, which has two methods. One is swim. And if I try to call, so you can see here, you got an output called can swim. So let's comment this out for to understand this properly. So what did we do? We have created this duck you just have called this class. You can create object and you can also call, but I have directly called it. And I have used a swim method which will stay can swim, and also I have one more method to a duck, that is it can also fly. So basically we have two methods which can swim and it also can fly. Okay. So this is how we use Mixin. This is why the Mixin comes to the place where we can inherit two different property at a time. Same way, like if you think the disadvantage of the classes where you can't extend the two parent class, you can only extend one parent class. So Mixin is a concept where if you want to extend a method which is like more than two methods in a one class, then we can use Mixins, which will help us. So that's all for today. So let's see you in the next video.